All right, let's dive right into this explainer because we've got to unpack an absolutely unprecedented event in tech history. We're looking at the sudden global suspension of Anthropic's top-tier AI models. Now, if you were trying to use Claude recently and suddenly hit a brick wall, well, you definitely aren't alone. But the real story here? It isn't just some random technical glitch. It's a massive geopolitical earthquake that literally rewrites the rules of artificial intelligence as we know them. To make sense of all this chaos, we're going to break it down into 6 quick insights. We'll cover the shocking suspension itself, the excuses versus the hidden motives, the dangerous precedent this sets, the shift to an AI block economy, the rise of sovereign AI, and finally, new strategies for survival. Let's get right into it. Section 1, the shocking AI suspension. Let's start right at the epicenter of this shockwave, the astonishingly short public lifespan of Anthropic's Claude Fable 5 and Mythos 5 models. Things escalated at a speed we've honestly never seen before. On June 9th, these world-class models drop globally. Everyone's excited. Then, just 3 days later on June 12th, bam, the US government hands down a strict export control order. But here's the absolute kicker. The order didn't explicitly say shut it down. It said restrict access to US citizens only. That even applied for foreign nationals working inside Anthropic. Anthropic obviously didn't want to shut down globally, but they were backed into a corner. Why? Because instantly verifying the exact nationality of millions of users online is virtually impossible right now. So, to stay compliant, they basically had to pull the plug on the whole shebang for everyone. 3 short days. That is literally all it took for the world's most capable AI to go from a public marvel to a heavily restricted, locked-down government asset. Crazy, right? Moving to part 2, excuses versus hidden motives. Because as you might guess, there is a massive gap between what we were officially told and what's actually happening behind closed doors. The official excuse for this dramatic takedown was a jailbreak, basically a minor vulnerability where users trick the AI into bypassing its safety guardrails. But come on, this is super common. It's kind of like how people used to jailbreak those early iPhones just to get mobile tethering. It's certainly not some apocalyptic threat. The underlying reality, though, this is a major defense maneuver. The actual driving force here is the intense US-China AI race and some very real national security anxieties over advanced tech supply chains. And we know for sure this isn't just a random overreaction. Take a look at this stark post from US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who stated, "The decision 3 months ago to permanently banish Anthropic has now been proven right." Wow. That completely confirms this event is actually the climax of ongoing friction between the Defense Department and Anthropic over military usage and supply chain risks. That minor jailbreak? Yeah, that was just the convenient trigger they needed to enforce a much larger strategic policy. All right, Section 3, the dangerous precedent. This is absolutely crucial because this single event fundamentally changes the future roadmap for literally every AI developer on the planet. We have to ask a massive question here. If a relatively minor flaw can be used by the government as an excuse for a global takedown, what in the world does that mean for competitors like OpenAI and Google? Well, it means developers are now terrified. They're going to be forced to severely over-engineer their safety systems, which could drastically slow down the timeline for any future public releases. To be totally clear, the government's incentive here isn't to kill AI development. Not at all. They absolutely want to win the AI race against China, so development is going to continue at breakneck speed behind closed doors. But they are highly motivated to stop the public release of these advanced models. They just don't want highly capable, cutting-edge tech out in the open where adversaries can easily analyze it, copy it, or benefit from it. Which leads us to part 4, an AI block economy. Let's look at how all this pressure builds into an entirely fractured global digital landscape. We are rapidly moving away from the globally shared internet we're used to, right into a true AI Cold War. We're looking at a future that's splintered into distinct economic blocks, a US and allies block, a China block, and an EU and neutral block. Your ability to access top-tier AI models won't just depend on your internet connection anymore. It's going to be strictly dictated by your country's geopolitical alliances. Even allied nations are waking up to the fact that they might get cut off if Washington decides it's necessary for security. Think about the chilling, real-world consequence this has for everyday users like us. To actually enforce a US citizens-only ban down the line, how will companies even verify you?
Well, they'll likely be forced into severe KYC, know your customer tracking. Imagine having to upload a passport or government ID just to log into an AI chatbot. It sounds crazy, but it opens the door to massive state surveillance risks and deep privacy concerns that the tech world is only just beginning to grapple with.
Next up, Section 5, the rise of sovereign AI. Because with access to American models no longer guaranteed, even for close allies, nations are realizing they are incredibly vulnerable. This brings us to the whole concept of sovereign AI, nations building their own foundational AI natively. For countries like Japan, this sudden Anthropic shutdown is a massive wake-up call. I mean, you literally cannot run your nation's economy, your finance sector, or your defense on an AI system that a foreign country can just switch off with a single phone call. The race to build independent, domestic AI infrastructure from the ground up, that is now an absolute national security imperative.
But here's where the whole thing takes a deeply fascinating and kind of ironic turn. Given that this ban was largely driven by the US trying to maintain its edge over China, who actually benefits the most from this strict US ban?
The answer lies in open-weight models. If you aren't familiar, these are AI systems where the core parameters are totally public. You can download them, run them locally on your own servers or hardware, and because they live directly on your machine, they are 100% immune to a remote government shutdown. No one can pull the plug on you. And guess who has been aggressively developing highly capable open-weight models lately? Yep, China. So in a twist of profound irony, the US government's attempt to lock down its own AI has inadvertently made Chinese open-weight models incredibly attractive. Companies all over the world are realizing they absolutely must adopt these models as a reliable backup. It's basically becoming the ultimate insurance policy. If the top-tier American cloud AI goes dark, your business doesn't die, you just quickly switch over to your local open-weight model. But by doing this, they are inadvertently boosting China's overall influence in the global AI ecosystem. Finally, we hit Section 6, New Strategies for Survival. Let's bring all this together and look at exactly what this means for you, your projects, and your business strategy moving forward. Listen, the days of simply picking the absolute smartest AI on the market and building your entire company around it, those days are over. That strategy is completely dead. You simply cannot afford to rely on a single provider anymore because, as we've just seen, geopolitical maneuvering can strip your access away literally overnight with zero warning. The only way to survive this newly fractured landscape is a robust, dual-course strategy. You've got to build a multi-model portfolio. Yes, absolutely utilize the incredible power of top-tier US cloud APIs while you have access to them, but you must pair that by maintaining local open-weight models as a permanent, unbreakable backup. And maybe most importantly, technology leaders can't just read tech specs anymore. You have to continuously monitor geopolitical shifts. Politics and code, they're permanently intertwined now. Which leaves us with this final thought. Now that artificial intelligence is officially recognized not just as a handy tech tool, but as a heavily regulated, fiercely protected geopolitical asset, the entire landscape has shifted. The technology isn't just about capability anymore, it's about control. So, the question is, are you prepared to navigate this geopolitical AI battlefield, and how will you protect your access to the future?